Musings of a chronic yapper. Bow. And today's half-baked delicacy opinion I would like you to buy into is the idea that it's actually a really, really good thing that you are an adult. Yep. No. I know. I just see you covering your ears like, no, not me. But you're 26, you're 23, you're in your 20s. So you are an adult now. You can la 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 all you want. You can do that if you want, but we are in this adulthood thing. Like, this is the phase in our life that we're at. I know we don't want to process that. I don't want to process that. And that's actually why I'm making this video, because this video is honestly me attempting something. I want to try to do something for you. Keyword try, other keyword you. What I want to attempt or even try to do, however noble or unnoble it is to actually remind and encourage you that it is a wonderful thing that you are an adult and that your adulthood is worth fighting for. And you and I are in the same boat, because I just turned 2-4. If I just put 2 and 4 together, that doesn't mean that they have to connect, but they connect in my life as 24. So you're not the only one that's like deflecting and denying my adulthood, but I actually want to get into why we are in a great spot to be adults. And in case you guys think that I'm not just putting this off the yap, this yap has been in my head for weeks, and I literally wrote this in my Google Docs of 37 pages of my yap. It's like a whole script with really heartfelt things that I think are going to encourage you. So if you see me looking down or reading from my script, it's because I really genuinely do believe that there's something good that I can perhaps help to encourage. And if I can't, well, I at least honor my attempt. So if you would indulge me for however long this video is and allow me to get my points. I have 5-ish or 6 points as to why I genuinely feel and believe that we are the adults now, and that is a very good thing. So, with that being said, I'm going to get started, and we're actually going to get started with a reason or one way that I think describes why we have such a crash out problem with being adults. Let's get into it. Point 1. Permission to go. So you are not entirely crazy at all for seeing adulthood as this useless, bad, awful omen, right? Because growing up, I know for myself at least, I was always introduced to any tenets of adulthood as inherently bad and awful. Adulthood was this majority negative thing. It was this thing that was coming to meet me, this demonic cloud of killing dreams and hope. Mentioning of things like bills, breakups, bad bosses, bullies, barrages. Everybody seemed to have a kink to tell me as a kid, like, oh, when you're an adult, wait till you get to the adult world, this, that, and the third. So you and I grew up always seeing adulthood as a net negative. It was never a net positive. We would hear 1 or 2 things about, oh, you can drive on your own, this, that, and the third. But generally, adulthood was revealed to us as this really almost like cruel, sorrowed portion. If kind of, and I'm not going to liken myself to Jesus in any big way, but in the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus was like, oh Lord, if you can, take this cup of suffering from me, but if not, thy will be done. Adulthood was the cup I would low-key subliminally say, God, please don't let me grow up. Don't make me an adult. I can't do it. But unfortunately, like most things in God's will, this was not the cup he was going to take to me. Think about it. Our messaging, if you look back now, you ask yourself, why are you so freaking out about being an adult? The longest ass parts of your life. The biggest thing is how it was sent to us. The messaging was so subliminally like terrible. For example, even as kids, we were made aware of all the problems we didn't create that we had no choice but to inherit. Negative messaging was ubiquitous all around us. For example, think about even in school, when you were in, for example, history classes, we would learn lessons on past errors, none of which we created but we had to inherit, or geography. Even before I was in secondary school or high school, it was always like, climate change. I mean, we were learning about climate change in primary school. Like, this thing has been here. Again, we're kind of inheriting it and we have to solve the problem. So adulthood, I wrote right here, so you know it's big business. Adulthood was kind of marketed to me as a general killer of dreams and a smithing of souls. Every generation before us was wrong about something, but maybe the next generation would be their savior. And like every next generation, they didn't always save things. And this cycle continued. It seemed like the only thing that would perpetuate in generation after generation are adults who carry misery. Like, so adulthood has never been seen to me as like a good thing. It was something I feared beyond maybe sometimes even hell. Like, people would tell me, Naomi, you're gonna hate it and you're gonna love it, and they'd almost get like subliminally off on it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just rambling. Like, adulthood was seen as trash. Maturity, responsibility was painted as killers of dreams. So when you're a daydreaming kid, a whimsical child, what do? When you see the dragon making its way towards you, you close the gate. So me, when I was young, right, it's one thing for me to be a middle child. I happened to be like the second twin / middle child, and I was also kind of like the fragile child, so I didn't even have to do stuff anyway. Nobody kind of leaned on me to be mature, so I was like, heck, that's great. I don't want to deal with maturity. People don't think I can do things on my own, so this is a win-win. And so when you're a kid and you see this demon coming at you, you run, you avoid it. I did anything I could. I took any drastic measure I could to cower away from even the little bit of responsibility, because something told me that if I even let a little bit of maturity in, adulthood is going to come rushing in. So I have to run. I have to escape adulthood, because again, like I said, it was only marketed to us as purely only negative. I bet you that you can tell me in the comments or wherever if there's anything you remember, like people telling you about adulthood, like not really encouraging, but what was one of the negative things you heard about being an adult? Just keep that in mind. But anyway, here we are, like freaking out as kids about adults, and so we avoid it. And I said here, and for a while I did manage to escape and avoid adulthood. I escaped, which I recognize now, I escaped to my detriment. It's not a good thing to absolve yourself from responsibility when you're young. I learned that, and that's why I'm making this video. As somebody who kind of failed to jump in, I kind of like really did myself dirty. I learned that once I taught even a little bit of a responsibility in, then it all comes crashing down, right? And for a while I managed to escape. And I escaped through these things I call like mini ecosystems, right? And the thing about these mini ecosystems is that not only did I escape through them, I worshiped those that made them, and those are people. I read here. All our lives we're told what to do. We were put in structures set for us by parents, family folk older than us in school. Things like wake up at this time, school starts at this time, classes are 45 minutes long, 6 classes before lunch, go on the bus, get home, this is the TV program. Everything about us since we were younger has been scaffolded by these mini ecosystems, right? Because of these ecosystems and their structures, we were provided a sense of escape, but as a result of that escape, we found ourselves subliminally submitting to very, very, very narrow and strict lenses of external markers or permissions. Again, keywords, external markers and permissions. Keep that in mind. So we submitted very narrowly to these strict lenses of external markers and permission to do things in life. This was what we sacrificed to get away from the dragon of adulthood, right? Like whether it was your mom telling you to get up, the coach saying to you, do these exercises at this time in this way, or even a TV program that you could trust would happen every day at this schedule. We looked to these markers for groundedness, right? We told ourselves, we let them tell us what parts of our life we are in, whether subliminally or consciously. And look, I have to make sure that I preface saying this, right? It's not wrong for us to look for markers of groundedness. We need to be grounded. Because listen, no matter how fearfully and wonderfully made you are and how spectacular and new you are, we are all still human, and all humans are commonly easily influenced and led. So I'm not saying this as like, oh, it's so bad that you are following around these markers of success and stuff and you're listening like crazy. That's normal. As a kid, we're going to need structure because we can't create it in ourselves. I get that. That's not a problem. So please, I preface that again, it's not wrong for you to seek a sense of groundedness. However, this could help highlight why there's a stagnancy in you taking the plunge to step into adulthood, right? So anyway, these external markers or external permissions, like people and their routines and schedules, they're all fine and dandy and good for a while, until suddenly they aren't. And it's usually suddenly when this happens. All of a sudden the safety net is ripped, and without consent and permission, you're just thrust into like the real world. Which, by the way, like just for a second, the whole real world concept when I was younger really did used to bother me, because it was almost like adults would literally get like a king to be like, oh, you believe in the goodness of people? Wait till you get to the real world. And I was like, what you mean the real world? Like the world that I've been in for like the past like 19, 20 years, it loves like Earth, it kills like Earth, it hurts like Earth, there's pain like Earth, and yet it's not like Earth. I don't understand. I really don't like that, because everybody's in the real world. If we're all in the Matrix, we're all in the Matrix all at the same time. So I did not like that. I was always hit with this, and it used to just piss the life out of me. So I say no to that whole real world. We are in the real world, right? But anyway, like I said here, at some point, usually unannounced and unprepared for, we are thrust into the real world without the familiar markers of groundedness, direction, or permission. And worst of all, you guys, one thing to add salt to injury, this right here added like lava, acid to the injury, was that not only was I thrust into the real world like a current, it seemed that everybody else just knew what to do. Everybody else just got the memo, and this killed me. It always killed me because I felt like my lateness to adulthood confirmed a very dangerous fear I've had since I was younger. Now, granted, I understand that I'm online. People and adults are all saying, hey, letting you in on a little secret. Nobody knows what they're doing. But for a while, it seemed like everybody was very good at pretending like they knew what to do all along. Because since I've been younger, my biggest fear was that, like, if there was my fear was that there's a carrot dangling in front of me. You know the way people are like, oh, there's a carrot in front of you and you're like a donkey running after it. For me, it wasn't even like riches and glory. It was like knowledge. I am so fearful that I'm gonna miss what's in front of me, that I'll miss the forest for the three trees. I'm so afraid to be oblivious, like oblivious to my life, oblivious to the happenings of the world. And it felt like when I was thrust into adulthood, everybody else seemed to know what they were doing. It was like there was this cosmic bulletin board all around me that everybody else had seen. Everybody else had got the memo. Okay, now it's time to be an adult. Go on, go do your thing. I never saw it. Everybody was getting ahead, and I just learned that I was even supposed to get ahead. That would indicate that actually I'm behind. Where are people getting these metrics from, right? I did not know what they were talking about. And so this big cosmic bulletin board screamed out, if you can see it, permission to go. And I missed it. And I punished myself for it. Until I learned that was the problem of point one. Permission to go, the whole bulletin board is actually the issue. I don't think there ever actually was a cosmic bulletin board. And the problem was that I needed there to be one. The core problem is that I, and maybe a select few watching this video, if this title spoke to you in some way, is that you and I have always been led, and as a result, like subconsciously search for external markers for what to do, waiting for others, parents, peers, institutions to grant permission to take on adult responsibilities, or actually just to have a life. I have spent my life so far, and granted, I know I'm only 24, but I still think that's quite a reckoning age. I spent so much of my life so far searching subconsciously and enforcing signals from outside people that this is what I'm supposed to be doing this now. Friends, for example, have been getting married. Classmates are graduating. So that tells me, oh shoot, my friends are getting married. Oh, does that mean that I should begin to start the process of like thinking about marriage? Or, oh shoot, like my friends have graduated college, and knowing me, you should have stayed in the course that was killing your soul, but at least you would have graduated. Like, doesn't that count for something? Everybody else is doing it. And again, I'm not slapping you in the face for like following what other people are doing. I know everybody's like, stop following the crowd. That's a bit unfair to say. It's the right thing to say, I think, but it's a bit unfair to not kind of remind people that for the first 20 years of your life, you're only ever really doing what people are telling you to do, and you need others around you to kind of help set a goalpost, or so you think, because you're bred for that, right? So this is a video that's not kicking your ass for. I'm saying me too. I am literally the exact same way. And so I was thinking, well, shoot, people are going on dates and having long-term boyfriends, and here am I haven't really done the kissing thing even a lot, often, at all, yet. So So I'm definitely a failure in that regard. And I'm sure you can fill in the blank and say, oh shoot, here's something that everyone else is doing that I haven't done. It's probably too easy for you to figure out a way in which you feel like a failure. We are never short of failures to find within ourselves. And somebody once said that one of the most profoundly terrible defects of the human condition is that we can conjure up about 1,000 imagined failures within ourselves in a second, and yet we can hardly dredge up the courage to admit a handful of actual successes that have happened. Who said that? That's just the tragedy of being able to quote yourself young. You don't want to show off. But back to like external permissions and the whole permission to go and needing a cosmic bulletin board to tell you that you have permission to start your life. Okay, one thing you need to know about that is when you listen to authority outside of yourself for way too long, you treat it like God, you're going to start to need that to give you basic permission to do basic things. You'll start doubting your brain, your ability to think, common sense, which by the way, I realized that I thought I was getting dumber, but like you don't understand how deeply you rely on people to tell you what to do and how to do something. I know, and I know it's something that like I'm going to be very careful because again I'm trying to give a disclaimer that I don't want to disrespect or offend anyone, but when you're so used to expecting people to tell you everything strictly exactly like how to do this in a perfect way, you completely lose abstract thinking. It's like the concept of, think about brushing your teeth, right? There are two kind of people in the world. Some people, they pull out their toothbrush, right? They wet the toothbrush first and then they put toothpaste. Some people put toothpaste first and then wet the brush. If the goal is to brush your teeth, does it really matter if you wet it first or if you put the paste on first? I hope you said no. Why did I say that? Because when you are so locked in to a specific person and they're the one that gives you permission how to do everything, you're not gonna know how to do anything. You're not gonna know how to do even basic little stuff. Now again, everybody is different. Everybody has different brains. That's completely valid. Where this applies to you, this applies to you. But I know good and well that this applies to somebody because yes, I am unique, but I am not special. Like problems that I have had, issues that I'm fighting against, discrepancies within myself that I'm realizing are all not new. There's nothing new under the sun. Again, when you listen too much to authority and you fix your eyes on certain external pressures and structures and routines and rituals, some of you don't even know how to do stuff because you don't like you can't do it if it's not done one particular way. That's the issue with seeking after an external force to give you permission to go and do stuff, especially now that you're in your 20s. Hello, Noemi, talking to Noemi TV. When you listen to authority outside of yourself for way too long and treat it like God, you'll need them to give you permission to do very basic things. And that is a very dangerous place to be in. You'll start doubting again your brain, common sense, and common sense is really only as common as the people around you telling the same thing again and again and again. If you move to different places, the common sense changes per culture. Like, I know common sense is like drink water or else you'll dehydrate. That's not what I'm talking about. Again, don't disqualify yourself from like autonomy. Don't disqualify yourself. You know I'm talking about it. Like if you move, the vibe, the move is different. Things are different in different places. But if you're so trapped by routines and this person says I must do it this way, the goal is to get clean teeth. Whether you, heck, some people, use a bamboo brush. Are you not going to brush your teeth? Now, like, I know you think I'm just being silly and nothing makes sense, but I really didn't realize how much I had learned my ability to abstractly think with common sense when I was so rigid, so ridiculously rigid. So anyway, you start doubting how you view yourself, right? And that's the most important thing because these routines and strict narrow routines and external markers, I said, become very narrow lenses, right? And all of a sudden, the idea of autonomy, abstract thinking is the devil. And you can't make your mind up about anything like going outside, staying inside, wearing a shirt, taking off a shirt, staying out, permission to start your life, permission to do anything. That is not a state of mind you should be in your 20s, my darling babe. No. And that's the curse of external permission. Again, valid, sure. I get why we think like that. I get why I think like that. It's valid, sure, but still way too external and way too worship. Worshipping isn't always that. Worshipping is loyalty. Worshipping is, in a way, are your instinctive habits. You don't even, like, I wonder how many of our habits worship the god of, like, ritual and routine. That's gonna freak you out, babe. Worshipping the idea that this specific type of person is the only one that can give me permission to go and do what I need to do. That'll put you in a very difficult spot, babe. So, external permission. It's rushed external permission to go. And that, my dear, is a mirage. It's familiar, right? But it's a mirage. It's bred into us. We are bred to seek after this continual mirage. Like, I can't give myself permission. And this is what I want you to remember in the face of you coming against strict markers of permission. True adulthood arrives the moment you decide you no longer need approval to act. I'm going to say it again. True adulthood arrives the moment you decide you no longer need approval to act. And if you feel like you can't do that, you're in your 20s. That's another marker. Okay. Not from the outside world where all your peers are getting married, having kids, and christening all their kids are having, which is wonderful. Or somebody getting a lovely job at a bank and a lovely course. No, true adulthood happens the moment you decide that you do not need approval to act. You do not need approval to attempt. You do not need approval to adult. You couldn't do this in your younger 5, 6, 7, 8 years. You can do it now that you're in your 20s. You have never had this unadulterated sense of like, go out, you know, it was sudden. I mean, your African parents, I know, my African mom went from like, stay here, don't do this, and don't think about men to, I want grandkids. That jump between boys don't even exist to having grandkids. That realm is adulthood. You have the right to be an adult. I know the videos about we're an adult, it's a good thing. You do know that you are an adult, right? And you, dear viewers, 20 and plus, have to be so darn careful and aware of the issue. The issue of having very specific markers of permission. That is hell, I'm telling you. I know, I'm really nervous. I'm really basically reading a lot of this out because, again, I trust my thoughts a lot more than my yap right now. So bear with me, right? You do not need you don't need nearly as many markers as you used to. You don't. You're not a kid anymore. You don't need to raise your hand and ask to go to the bathroom. And if you do, and if that person asks you to do that, and you're 26, that's weird. That's weird. It's weird. It's weird. It's weird. So, whether you're ready or not, dear viewer, if you are in your 20s plus, you are an adult, babe. That's the realm of life you're in. And that realm is not going anywhere for a long time. That phase is not going anywhere. And the thing is, your adult life has been waiting for you alone. It has been waiting for you, babe. It hasn't been waiting for your twin to step into permission to be an adult. It hasn't been waiting for your cousins. It hasn't been waiting for your friends who you are locked in together like this. No, your specific life of adulthood, your specific path of adulthood is thoroughly and specifically your own. And it's been waiting for you after leaving college, after leaving school, dropping out, late shift, low bank numbers, leaving home. You still have permission to be an adult, even if you're still at home. You know, your room, which you used to love and be comforted in. All of a sudden, your elbows are growing up, and you're all of a sudden you're stifled in your room, and you're popping your hands out the window, and the house now is a t-shirt, and the home in which you used to feel comfort being a child, that mindset does not fit you anymore. It doesn't serve you anymore. And the idea of being a child without responsibilities, you don't like it. And let me tell you something crazy about adulthood. As somebody that used to run hell and off to be far away from adulthood and responsibilities, now it is one of the things that I crave. What you run from is what you are running towards. What you run from, my dear, is what you will be running towards. I am telling you right now, everything that I thought I feared about adulthood, responsibility, maturity, even if I can't handle it, I would rather be someone that cannot handle my responsibilities all the time than not have any at all. I have never known myself to be that in my entire life. That is a sign that my brain is developing at 24, but also that adulthood, there's something in me past the programming that adulthood is negative and bad, is that there's something in me that craves it, because I'm sorry, I typically also like to crave good things. And I believe wholeheartedly adulthood is a good thing. So like that uncomfortable feeling that you've been feeling, everything doesn't feel the way that it is, that doubt that's been sweeping in you, what you used to do you don't find like delight in, or worst of all, when you used to be so subservient to what everyone else is telling you to do, all of a sudden you can't just mindlessly shut your brain off. All of a sudden you're beginning to develop like questions like, well, I'm the goal is to brush my teeth. Like, why does it have to be wet the toothbrush first and then add the toothpaste? Well, what if I want to add the toothpaste first and then wet the brush? Are people, is it that bad? Before you used to not care, before you used to only care about the systems, but you're beginning to look into the result of life you want. You begin to question if this is like, it doesn't have to be this way, and it's uncomfortable, and because now your shoulders are like rubbing into the ceilings of your home. And that feeling, that uncomfortable feeling, that is a very big marker of permission to go. Only it's internal. You need to start to realize that you give yourself markers all the time that you can be ready to have permission to go, like permission to do stuff, to be an adult. You can do that with your interests, your hobbies. Like, I really have this deep interest to like help fix the town. I love cleaning like tidy towns and stuff. And, maybe I could do something. Yeah. Like, it's actually a wild thing that you believe that every other voice outside of your own, it has more validity about you being an adult. Why does permission only belong externally to your life? Yes, God is with us. He is within us. He's all around us. He's also upstairs. But like the Holy Spirit, if you're not Christian, that's fine. But if you are, like, hello, there is permission within you that dwells within you. You cannot be someone that only believes that everybody else seems to have a better grip and authority on your own life. That's insane. I'm not saying that you can't be teachable and can't take criticism, but babe, you and I know both well that's not what I'm talking about. So stop trying to say, well, what about this? That whataboutism is sending you further back into childhood, like into a mentality of being a child. So let's just drop that just for 1 second. I know you think whataboutism is you being inclusive, but at the cost of you excluding yourself in your specific circumstance. So just stop. Drop the whataboutism just for this video, okay? Let's get past this point 1 because we have other parts I want to get to. So, viewer, I'm sure that if you click this video, you kind of feel what I mean. You may even have felt it. Your home walls are cracking because you've outgrown them. Outgrowing is a sign that you have permission to go. If you're outgrowing, don't you want to know which direction you're growing towards? Only you know. So you have permission to go. And I want to read this. Scripture, the Bible says that what the enemy tries to use for evil, God will use for good. Genesis chapter 50 verse 20, which, first of all, shout out to God. I love that God is like, Satan tried to do this, yeah, I'm going to use that. People said, you'll never be lovable. Actually, you have a quality about you that's going to attract people. So I love that Satan is like, damn, every time he involves himself, he only puts people closer to God. Like, that's such a Satan must feel so angry to know that every time he involves himself in something, God is like, yeah, I'm in that already. So shout out to Christ, points for Jesus, nothing for Satan. Anyway, so Satan didn't think that confusion or uncomfortable feeling would be used for good, but it will be, and it can be, when you remember that you, dear viewer, already have permission to go ahead with a life that is yours. Okay? So please, enough with the stalling, and dilly-dallying. Okay? You have permission to go. And not only do you have permission to go now at this video, you have always had permission to go. Like, I know that you can start to scream and freak out. Oh shoot, I've been so behind. I'm 27. I'm only now starting to do things for my life that I know I'm supposed to do. Okay, relax, babe. Just relax. Let this revelation be juice. Let it be fuel. Let it be electric. You need to turn that anxious energy into letting it be electric, right? So at some point, knowing me, speaking to myself, the gun was raised, the gates were open, it was shot, and boom, the race was on, whether it's a rat race, a horse race, or a hamster wheel, whether it's a hamster wheel or eternally being stagnant, that realm in between is adulthood. Don't think you're smart by trying to sit in the gate, trying to figure out, is this a gate for a hamster or a gate for a horse? You're not more smart for just analyzing to the point where you don't do anything. You got to get out and move, babe. Get out. You got to get out. You just go, babe. We have got to move, like right now, right? I wrote here, I don't want to rush you because the grind culture rushes. I also don't want you to rust. And a better way for you not to rust is in movement. You need to go. You need to move. You have permission to kickstart adulthood. Whether that's 29 with 4 kids or 21 and you've dropped out of college and you don't know what to do. You have permission to go. You've been had permission to go, right? Go out there. Get this into your mental. I know video 1, part 1, I'm only yapping, but I really need you guys to hone in on this. Like, you have had permission. You need to bang it into your head. You have as much authority about your life as other human beings. They don't have more authority than God. And you have at least some authority in your own life. So come on, bang it in your system, bang it in your head, in your brain, gaslight yourself. I have had to gaslight myself into saying, Amy, you have had authority and permission to go and do some things in your life for ages. You can cry over not having done so, but you have permission. And that's the blessing about being an adult, is literally this, right? You don't have to ask for you have 42% less people to ask for permission to do stuff. Like, there are adults who are older than me, and they're sitting around and they're still like subliminally running after people that look like authority and waiting for them to kind of tell them what to do. You know, there are way more people in the world who are clinging and running, looking to be sheep. And I'm not talking about like sheep in the flock. Even those sheep have like brain cells. I'm serious. It's going to be really hard for you to get out of that mindset, but that's the thing about being an adult. You got like, let's say you have like 42% of less people to ask permission from. Don't ask me where I did the math. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Either way, you're an adult now. You're in your 20s. You're in your 20s. Come on. Like, I'm encouraging you. You're 21, you're 22, you're 23, you're 24, you're 25, you're 26, you're 27, 28, 29, 30. These are for 20s minimum. I'm going to give the 18 and 19-year-olds grace because they're still teenagers to me, right? But you're in your 20s. I'm not saying like you got to get a house now. Like, babe, I'm not even talking about doing anything physical, but setting it into your mind. You have had just as much permission to go and get your life as every other person in the sea. It doesn't matter if you're a guppy fish or the size of a beluga whale. You're in the sea, you're swimming. You might have a broken fin. Or maybe you think you have a broken fin because people have told you have a broken fin, but you have just as much permission to go out there and go after your life. No, listen to me. You do. And again, anyway, responsibility is not a death sentence. Adulthood is not a murder weapon, and maturity is not an inner child snatcher. Okay? Pure electric juice sitting in your bones. Like, let that sit, babe. Let that run through you. Let the realization and revelation that your life is also up to you, and that is a good thing. Let that run into you. I know you can be afraid, but run into that. You have permission. You can do something. You have autonomy. You have influence. You can go and get your life. I wrote here, I know I probably don't know a lot about your life situation and what's going on, but you being an authority in your life can be a really good thing. You might have a problem taking authority, but you have no problem following it. It's time to switch it, babe. You have authority. I believe that, whether now or later in the future. So, right. The whole point of this first point was to mentally immobilize you, to ignite the gall to assume you have permission to go and live life. You shouldn't feel like it's gall or gumption, because remember, you probably think that autonomy is the devil. From whom? Who benefits from you not having permission in life? Who benefits from you not having the gall to go and live your life? Who benefits from that? Not God. It's one thing for God to call us to be humble, but we're moving. Who benefits from you being stagnant and seeking permission from every other being but yourself? Outside of God. We know it's the devil. Whether you believe him or not, You know, I know atheists who are like, yeah, I don't believe in God and devil, but I wouldn't listen to the devil. You have permission to go. So the first point that I was about trying to rid the mental block regarding authority and gall. Authority and gall are two things you need to be at peace with becoming and existing as an adult, because your adulthood is not going anywhere. So you already have the right and the assignment to move forward. You have permission to go. Don't sit around. You've had permission. Bash it into your brain and into your skull. Even if you're stumbling forward and you're only starting as an adult as 29, at 36 or 47, it doesn't matter. Full steam ahead. Your dreams are up to you. A lot of your life is also up to you as well. So that was point one. I know a lot, probably like 15, 30 minutes of me yapping the same thing. But please set this point one as the foundation, as the basic foundation, the building block in which all the other points in this video will jump off of and will build upon. None of the other points are going to make sense. None of the other points are going to sit if the soil in your mind is not permission to go. You have permission to go. You're an adult now. You can make your own decisions. You might stumble, you might fall, but you can make your own decisions. So go ahead. It's a good thing that you're an adult. Whew, okay. And that is a great thing. So your end thing you have to do, you have to recognize your inherent permission to go, shed the fear of responsibility, and propel yourself into action. Cool, cool, cool. Okay. Oh my. We have beat this cow so dead that I can smell the burger. But, babe, I want to
push it even further. I'm just here to push it even further. Just push it even further.